Ricky Tikki Taffy, now back in original mongoose flavor, presents The Young Southpaw Part of an Hour. Ding! Rudyard Kipling, you know? I don't get it. I mean, like, a yard? As in Rudyard? You'd think it would be like kindling, as in firewood, that you would collect from the trees in the yard. I mean, Kipling, like kippers, you know, the fish, they're not land creatures. I mean, I guess you could put an aquarium in the yard. I mean, were people doing that in the 1800s? Was that his family's line of business? Backyard aquariums, you know? You'd think they would break against the forces of nature and whatnot. I mean, let's not forget about thieves, too. Like that INXS album. I doubt they had security parked out back listening for such burglars in the middle of the night. Yes, I know the album title is Listen Like Thieves. But takes one to know one, you know? I mean, that's the security guard's motto. Who do you think trained them? All channeling Michael Hutchence hundreds of years before he even started making records. And like Ernest Hemingway? Were his family tailors? Just sewing stuff up all the time? Maybe even making some of their own designs, you know? Early prototypes for Duran Duran's threads. Threatening to stitch his mouth shut. I mean, that's why he took up writing. Just had to get it out. What about Ian Fleming? Was he sick? Or Belgian? Backyard aquariums, though. I mean, I'll freely admit, I haven't read any Rudyard Kipling in quite a long time, you know? I had a big old crush on a girl named Kim when I was like 12 years old, but then I read that book and didn't have anything to do with it. Didn't even mention like Debbie Gibson or Tiffany, you know, who were on the radio at the time. So I don't know. Then again, out east, you had like George Orwell. Were his family building rowboats? Or I guess, you know, rather more to the point, teaching people how to propel a boat properly. Row, row, row your boat merrily down the stream, you know? Maybe his relatives had a band, like the Partridge Family. And Row, Row, Row Your Boat was their big selling single off the back of their hit TV show. Heck, man, you can even combine the two. This boating expertise with the Kipling business. You know, if they're big enough aquariums. Then like Anthony Burgess was writing about the East as well. The Malayan trilogy, you know. Can't really think of what trade a Burgess implies. Though, you know, there was that real-life spy, Guy Burgess, of the Cambridge Five with Kim Philby, you know? There you go. I mean, I wonder if that's why that crush didn't work out. Though Anthony Burgess's real name was John Wilson. You know, like the sporting supply company? Made famous by... I never saw the movie Castaway, I'll be honest with you. Last Tom Hanks film I actually liked was Joe versus the Volcano. Though, maybe A League of Their Own was after that. Funny that, with the sporting equipment and all. We should have seen that coming. I mean, even if I did, I still never saw Castaway. I mean, it's embedded enough in pop culture for people to confirm my suspicions. And, you know, Anthony Burgess wrote an early version of the screenplay for The Spy Who Loved Me. But as far as I know, he did not write Castaway. But I mean, the man wrote quite a bit. The shades will tell you that. Woo! Though speaking of volleyball, you got that whole beach scene in The Stranger. Camus, you know. I mean, whoa! Why wasn't he like writing fantasy, you know? About creatures that were like a cross between a camel and Shamu, the killer whale from SeaWorld. Easily make those into a movie, you know? Hump Day just got that much scarier. The slogans write themselves. And like some non-French speakers mispronouncing his name, Camus, because it's spelled C-A-M-U-S, Camus, like Kingsley Amis, I guess. Kingsley Amis was a huge sci-fi fan. He and Camus could have collaborated. That would have been rad. Camus and my old buddy Jean-Paul Sartre has that line, you know, hell is other people. Kingsley Amis's son Martin using other people as the title of one of his novels. I mean, maybe they did collaborate. And then 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Jules Verne, you know, that 80s comedian. I mean, why wasn't he in a league of their own, you know? And then like H.G. Wells, I mean, you would definitely put in a well with that much water. Then like the Kipling family probably want to get in on some of that hot action, you know? Prime source for their backyard aquariums. Thing is, I read a biography of Kipling too. I had to write a paper about him at school. Again, nothing to do with my teenage crush Kim in there, so I was kind of lost. I don't even remember anything about the backyard aquarium business. Maybe I was just too distracted, you know. But if I am just plagiarizing that biography, you know, here, someone please let me know, and I will rescind any claims. I like to give credit where credit is due, you know. But like Rudyard, it's like red, too. Ruddy, ready, steady, go, like that Generation X song. I mean, Billy Idol must have a backyard aquarium. Be rad, too. Got statues of himself in it. Idols of Idol. But like I was saying, it would be red as well as rad. Like Red Desert Sands, you know? Or that jazz standard, red sails in the sunset. Heck, red is in the very fire the kindling is making. Rudyard, man. Got his finger in many pies. Not just cherry, you know. Wait a second. Was that Warrant song about Rudyard Kipling? But like the Jungle Book. I mean, I guess in the 90s it started to become known as the Drum and Bass Book, but you know what I mean. I always got confused, you know. Because of Mowgli. And then Mogwai from Gremlins. And like when the band Mogwai first came out, I thought they had named themselves after the Jungle Book character. But like Mowgli and Mogwai, that should have been a spin-off series. But wait, I'm thinking of Gizmo is the name of the gremlin, right? I never saw the movie. It looked scary when I was a kid. But I assume it was just like some, you know, anti-Soviet propaganda so beloved in the 1980s. Like Red Dawn, you know, that prequel to Caroline in the City. I mean, both Red Dawn and Gremlins came out in 1984, you know, riding on Van Halen's coattails like that. That cartoon of the Jungle Book that I used to watch as a kid, though, man, came out years before that. You know, with Baloo the bear. Went on to play guitar with David Bowie. But like to keep the alliteration, just switch up Gizmo's name. Mo Giz, you know? Mowgli and Mo Giz. Be a wildly successful spin-off series. Going on some crazy adventures together, you know, starting from the humble beginnings of a rundown shack housing the family's backyard aquarium business. But they're doing like a two-man vaudeville act out in the jungle like that, you know? Soon Guns N' Roses hear of them, take them on as their opening band. But the two Moes are trying to keep themselves from being sued by the Three Stooges estate, close enough already with the name Mo. They want their show to be truly original. Being about, out there in the wild where they came from, So they asked their management team to start getting them dates with, like, Tiger Tails. Remember that band? White Line, White Snake. Getting David Coverdale in for some good old hijinks, Maybe have him out as a stooge, out in the crowd to call up on stage like Courtney Cox in the Dancing in the Dark video. I mean, the stadium was well lit enough to see all that, of course, But, like, get gorillas, too, Wolf Eyes, John Cougar, Mellencamp. Heck, this could be quite the package tour. Be a great movie, too. Anthony Burgess could probably write the screenplay, if he weren't long dead. But maybe, dig him up, see if he'd already written one and it's just clutched in his decomposing, rotting hands just because he was waiting for the right time for someone to discover it, which is now. Like Van Hagar said, right now. Yeah, I always thought that line after that was, there's no tomorrow. And, like, there has to be a tomorrow, for this movie to come out. I mean, like, even if they found this script, even if they dug up the grave in the morning, which I would not recommend, people are going to see you. You got to do it under the cover of night. But even if they did do it, like, right before the dawn, like that Judas Priest song, I mean, this is a million seller, a multi-million seller. It's not like they can have everyone in the world read it that very day if there's no tomorrow. I mean, obviously, they're not going to be able to shoot the movie that same day. They haven't even read the script. And you got to plan feature films, So there needs to be a tomorrow. Like Annie sang, Which I guess is what Sammy Hagar was kind of saying anyway. The red rocker, Annie's red hair. I mean, of course, you'd want Dave's songs on the soundtrack, Everybody wants some. Fitting in perfectly with those tribal drums. And Unchained, of course. I mean, that should be in every movie. Heck, they should even go back and retroactively put it in every film ever made, Metropolis, Bedazzled, both versions. To Catch a Thief, all of them. Gone with the Wind. I mean, obviously it's going to be gone if it's not chained up. Point Break. I mean, come on. One break coming up, Woo! Oh, man, this runs the risk of the Dirty Dancing conundrum. That Unchained couldn't possibly have been recorded when some of those early films came out. Especially the silent movies. I don't know. I think maybe the spirit of Unchained has always been there, keeping us going, Just not audibly until 1981. But have Unchained playing in like a scene where Mowgli and Mo Giz, are captured, And they're all like chained up to a wall about to descend into some fire. I'm thinking like something like Temple of Doom, Have a gratuitous shot of the kindling too, keeping that fire going. I don't know, like the wall moves, I guess, And then David Lee Roth bursts in. Whoa! Followed by James Bond and Indiana Jones. Rescues the hell out of them. They go on to record a string of hit singles, the 5 of them, Call themselves like the Cambridge 5, of course, Getting some of Mogwai's space rock involved with Roth's vocals over it. I mean, woo! Be rad. Get the sound of Dr. Jones's whip. Like on some heavy machinery like Einstürzende Neubauten. I mean, yeah, I picture Blixa involved in this too. I don't know what Bond's doing. I hope he doesn't feel too left out, But I mean, somebody's got to keep their eye on the scene in case any surprise attacks. Probably keyboards then, I guess. Huh. Like, this movie doesn't seem to have anything to do with my teenage crush either. But then again, like Anthony Burgess wrote it and not Guy Burgess's partner in crime, Kim Philby, I mean, young love, eh? Though back to them being chained up on the movable wall, like for the fire down below, speaking of the old family business, it's the wood that got those flames going, kindling, not Kipling. I guess if you're gonna torture someone, just burning fish underneath them while they're chained to a wall is just, the reek. Woo! I don't want that. I don't even want to see it in the movies, like one of those John Waters smell-o-vision things. John Waters, though, I wonder if his family is in the backyard aquarium business.